Okay, in this video we're going to solve a few more problems involving special right triangles. As we discussed in the previous video, the special right triangles we're talking about are the 45, 45, 90 triangle, and this is the pattern leg, 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 radical 2, and the other one is your 30, 60, 90 triangle, and the pattern starting with the short leg, the hypotenuse will be double that, and then the long leg will be the short leg times radical 3. Memorize this. Notice that the 45, 45, 90 triangle is an isosceles triangle. With these two legs being equal, that makes this an isosceles triangle. So if they talk about an isosceles right triangle, you automatically know that you are talking about a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Alright, because that's isosceles. So we're given one leg and we're supposed to find the others. So I find it useful to draw a little picture off to the side. So I'm just going to draw a little picture over here. So if this is an isosceles right triangle, you know what, I'm going to cheat. Okay, so here's my isosceles right triangle. And for this first triangle, they gave us that one of the legs is 2 radical 6. So that means that this, for example, is 2 radical 6. Well, in a 45, 45, 90 triangle, let's go ahead and get these 45s in there, it's isosceles. So that means this other leg is also 2 radical 6. Alright, so that means this is 2 radical 6 for sure. And the way the hypotenuse works is the hypotenuse will be the leg times radical 2. So I'm going to take the leg that I already have, and then I'm going to multiply that leg times radical 2. So this would be leg radical 2. Of course, I'm going to simplify this. Radical 6 times radical 2 is radical 12. So let me just do this off to the side. Alright, so I've got radical 12. Now I've got this 2 in front, so I've got 2 radical 12. So I just need to simplify this down all the way. Remember, 12 is 4 times 3. I'm pulling out this perfect square. So this is how you would simplify this. So square root of 4 is 2. Alright, so that became that. And 2 times 2 is 4, so that is 4 radical 3. So there's my hypotenuse. Okay, so that's it for that. Now, for the next triangle, we are given the hypotenuse is 4 over 3, 4/3. So what do I do with that? First of all, let me clean this up. Okay, great. So the hypotenuse is going to be 4/3. So here's how the pattern goes. I will call these legs x. So I will have x, x, and then the hypotenuse would be x radical 2. So basically I need to solve this equation for x. So to do that, I need to divide both sides by radical 2. So if I divide both sides by radical 2, alright, that's going to be like this. Yeah, if you divide a fraction by something, just put it in the denominator and that you divided by it. So 4/3 divided by radical 2 is the same thing as 4 over 3 radical 2. There I just divided by radical 2. That's how you divide a fraction by something. Anyway, so this is basically the answer, but we should rationalize the denominator. And we will do that by multiplying by radical 2 in the top and the bottom. That will neutralize this radical 2 over here. So that's going to give me, so I've got a numerator of 4 radical 2. I'm just going to bring down this 3. Now radical 2 times radical 2 is 2. So that's going to make 4 radical 2 over 6. And this is going to reduce down. Both of these are divisible by 2. So this will be 2 radical 2 over 3. And this is isosceles, so these are both the same. So both legs will be 2 radical 2 over 3. Okay, it's weird how it's jumping around, but you get the idea. Alright, so that's number 14. How about number 15? Now this time it is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So again, I'm going to sort of draw that off to the side so I can play around with it. Alright, so this will be my 30, 60, 90 triangle. Okay, what do we have? So for the first triangle, the longer leg is radical 21 over 2. So that will make this be radical 21 over 2. And of course, I'm supposed to find everything else. Well, the pattern that we memorized goes like this. You start with a short leg. If I call that x, then the hypotenuse will be 2x, and the longer leg will be x radical 3. So I'm just going to make a little equation out of the one where I have an actual number given. Alright, now I'm actually going to recopy that equation over here. So I have x radical 3 is equal to radical 21 over 2. So what I need to do is divide both sides by radical 3. So I'm going to divide this side by radical 3, and I'm going to divide this by radical 3. Again, when you divide a fraction by something, all you really have to do is put it in the denominator. So I take this fraction. If I want to divide by radical 3, just put radical 3 in the denominator. Say if I have 2/3. If I want to divide this by 5, all I would do is I would put 5 in the denominator. So 2/3 divided by 5 is the same thing as 2 over 3 times 5, which is 2/15, by the way. Okay, so learn that. If you want to divide a fraction by something, just put it in the denominator. I can tell that's going to come up a lot. Anyway, let's get down to business. Now over here we've got radical 3 and radical 21. They're both radicals and they are divisible. 21 is divisible by 3. So we can go ahead and do that division, and that's going to give us radical 7. Alright, because 21 divided by 3 is 7. So there you have it. That's the short leg, of course, is this radical 7 over 2. Okay, so let's see, radical, radical 7 over 2. Jumping around on the screen, making my life difficult. Now for the hypotenuse, what you do is you double the short leg. Alright, so my hypotenuse is going to equal radical 7 over 2 times 2. Alright, if I double it, then I've got the hypotenuse. Well, look, these are just going to cancel each other out, and that'll give me radical 7. That's how you double that. Alright, so the hypotenuse should simply be radical 7. Man, that's ugly. So that's it for triangle 1. Let's go for triangle 3. Alright, just clean this up a little bit, leave myself some space. Okay, they gave us the shorter leg. Alright, that always makes our life easy. So radical 6 is the short leg. So I'm going to put that here. Now the hypotenuse is always going to be double the short leg. So this should be 2 times radical 6. You know what? I meant to change colors when I did that. Alright, take the short leg, double it, and you've got the hypotenuse. So that should be 2 times radical 6. Okay, if you take the short leg and multiply by radical 3, that's how you get the long leg. So if I take my short leg, which was radical 6, and then if I multiply that by radical 3, okay, now I've got the short leg times radical 3. That's how you get the long leg. Well, we can actually multiply those since they're both radicals. 6 times 3 is 18, so that's going to be radical 18. Now you really want to simplify this. I'm going to do this off to the side. So radical 18, there's a perfect square in there. It's 9. 9 times 2. So radical 18 is the same thing as radical 9 times radical 2, and square root of 9 is 3. So that's 3 radical 2. Okay, so there you go. That is the longer leg. So the hypotenuse was 2 radical 6, and the longer leg was 3 radical 2. And there you go. All right. Number 16, find the perimeter of the regular polygons below. Regular means that all the sides are the same. So if this is a square, and here I've got the diagonal, then that automatically means that this is going to be a 45, 90 triangle. Okay, it's isosceles right triangle. That means we're looking at the pattern that goes like this. X, X, and x radical 2. So looking at this right here, alright, x radical 2 must equal 2. Okay, so I just need to solve this for x. Of course, I will do that by dividing both sides by radical 2. Alright, so that gives me 2 over radical 2. Now, normally we like to rationalize the denominator by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the radical. So that's going to give me 2 radical 2 over 2, right? Radical 2 times radical 2 is 2, and then these 2's cancel each other out. So x is equal to simply radical 2. So that means that these sides here are both radical 2. Maybe I'll just use a different color. So this is radical 2. So this is the square, yeah? So that means all 4 sides are going to be radical 2. So the perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So radical 2 plus radical 2 plus radical 2 plus radical 2. So add them all up, my perimeter will be 4 radical 2. Okay, awesome. And finally this. Now if this is a regular polygon, alright, that means that this is an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle is also equiangular. All 3 angles are the same. Now we know that a triangle has 180 degrees. If you take that and divide it evenly by 3, you get 60. That tells you that these are 60, and this up here is also 60. But see how we're sort of splitting it down the middle. Alright, so that's going to be, oh look at that, 30 and 30. So what we have are 2 30, 60, 90 triangles. Now I'm going to recopy sort of one of these triangles separate just to make it easier to see what we are doing. Let's see, can I easily cheat? Let's see. Yeah, that's going to work. So you see what I'm doing. I'm taking this the right hand side and I'm pulling it off. Okay, great. So what we know is, okay, this is a right triangle, and this side over here is 12. Now remember, even though this kind of looks like a 45, 45, 90 triangle, it's not. This is 30 and this is 60, so bear that in mind. That means that this is the short leg down here and this is the long leg. So let us use our pattern that we have learned. Okay, for 30, 60, 90 triangle, we always focus on the short leg first. So the short leg is x, the hypotenuse is 2x, and the long leg is x radical 3. Alright, so make an equation out of the one where you're given an actual number. So I'm just going to recopy it over here where I have lots of space. So x radical 3 equals 12. So I'm going to solve this by dividing both sides by radical 3. That gives me x is equal to 12 over radical 3. We will rationalize the denominator by multiplying by radical 3 in the numerator and the denominator. So that will give us 12 radical 3 over 3. Radical 3 times radical 3 is 3. But 12 divided by 3 is 4. So that's going to give me 4 radical 3. Now, understand this. 4 radical 3 is just this side of the triangle right here. Understand that that's just half of the side. Okay, so this is my 4 radical 3, like right here. Now, of course, the hypotenuse is this. Okay, and the hypotenuse, of course, will be double this because look where it came from. This is half of a side, and this is a whole side, so of course it'll be double. So if this is 4 radical 3, then this should be 8 radical 3. Okay, now looking back at the big picture here, this is an equilateral triangle, so really all 3 of these sides will be 8 radical 3, including this side, okay, which is 8 radical 3. Okay, and we were supposed to find the perimeter of this. So the perimeter is going to be 8 radical 3 plus 8 radical 3 plus 8 radical 3. So the perimeter is going to be, well, 3 times 8 is 24, so that'll be 24 radical 3 for the perimeter. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you on the next video.